We're not raised to be strong men. We're raised to be good little boys. We are wild. We are energetic. We are hyperactive. Get over it. Well, imagine a scenario for me, if you will. It's a hunter-gatherer tribe in a deep rainforest. There's two boys playing outside with sticks. They're battling each other. They're swinging at each other's faces. They're blocking attacks. They're striking each other. The mom of one of the boys comes outside and sees what they're doing and gets panicked. And she says, "Stop doing that. You're not allowed to play like that." And she snatches the stick away from the boy and brings him inside. And she says, "That's dangerous. You should never play like that again." Now his dad is returning from a hunt. He's been on a long hunt in the forest. He's carrying the animal that he killed on his shoulder, and the boy runs out excited and he's like, "Dad's finally home," and he sees the kill and he wants to spend time with his dad, but the mother instead brings the boy inside and shelters him from seeing the separation and gore of the animal and like preparing it to cook and all that. So the dad goes and does the butchering. The mom shelters the boy and keeps him inside to chop vegetables and take care of his baby sibling instead. Now this goes on for a long time. The mother shelters the boy from anything wild or primal or violent. She wants him to be safe. She wants him to act like a good little boy. She tells him to sit down. And while all this is going on, also they're fighting off invaders to their village. Like the men in the village are having to fight off invaders of neighboring tribes and things like that. So the men are going out hunting and the boy is completely sheltered from seeing any of this. And so how many generations do they have left after all the strong men are gone? Who will be going out to do the hunting? Who will be defending the village from invaders when the boys have been sheltered from everything that makes them men? This is the state of the modern man. We are completely sheltered from everything that makes us men. The wild primal self is stripped from us. We're told to be good little boys. We're not raised to be strong men. We're raised to be good little boys. The same question applies. When all of the strong men are gone and all of the boys have been raised, sheltered from everything that makes them men, how many generations do we have left? You see, this primal wild self is part of you. It's innate. It's passed down from thousands of years of men who had to fight for survival, who had to do the hard things. They didn't have a choice. Their life wasn't comfortable. If they didn't do the hard things, they would have died and everyone they loved would have died. And so when you're a child, when you're a boy, this wild self that craves adventure and craves being outside and craves combat and craves swinging things like they're weapons, that's an innate drive to be raised up into doing those things. And like I said, in this modern lifestyle, in this modern setting, there is no need for those traits anymore. There is no need to go out and hunt in the wild just to survive. There is no need to fight off invaders to your village, at least not yet. Now you can take Ukraine, for example. They're a modern society much like ours. Everybody in Ukraine was probably going about a regular day when Russia invaded their country, and then all of a sudden everybody had to be strong. They had to defend themselves. They're like, whoa, wait a minute. So that's just one example and possible scenario of why it's very dangerous not to raise boys to be men and to teach them what that means. In the blink of an eye, life could be just not so comfortable anymore. Now, let's say that you're a person who doesn't believe in the spiritual and the bigger picture of things. Well, you still can't deny that things are passed down evolutionarily and that these things are innate. Like there are things that are innate and there are things that are learned. Like masculinity is bestowed. It's supposed to be taught to us from older men, but there are things that are innate, like survival and the primal wild self that just comes with being a boy and being a man. So with that being said, even if you're not like a bigger picture spiritual person like me, it can't be denied that there are things that are innate that were passed down to us from our ancestors, like being a total warrior king, primal badass, or else everybody that you would have known and loved would have died and you wouldn't have survived. And that's where the primal wild self comes from. It's passed down. Like if you were to look at a timeline of history from the time that we're living in now to like all of the thousands of years that people would have had to fight for survival, like this time that we're living in right now is very brief. It's only been the last couple hundred years. I know that there's been several generations since we started living so comfortably, and that's all we know. Like that's what we were brought up in, so you don't really think about things like surviving in the wild, hunting the next dinner, fighting off invaders to your village. But my point is that this time has been so brief that there has been no time for that drive in ourselves that was passed down to us from our ancestors to be quenched. It's still there and it's still necessary. And if we just suck that out of boys and quench it from them, they end up pursuing all of the wrong things in life. They don't know how to express that warrior spirit, and they end up in jail, they end up in prison, they end up doing violent crime. It gets really, really bad. And that's why it's important to show our boys and to show ourselves that that primal wild self is natural and there's nothing wrong with it. We are wild. We are energetic. We are hyperactive. Get over it. And we need to be taught how to express that and how to channel that in the right ways, or else terrible things happen.